there, and welcome to a new video here. As you can see, it's the transfer window. The deadline day has passed, the window has closed, and we're straight in with the signings and sales, loans released, and what could have been of the 2021 January transfer window. Straight in with one that should have been, could have been, would have been nice. With Nesbitt. Nesbitt would have been a decent transfer. He was getting up and up in the costs, and he was becoming a worryingly high cost of over 3.5 million possibly at one point. And obviously that's not the kind of fees we should be talking for a player like him. We kind of pulled out, but they also kind of pulled out. Neither team wanted to deal with each other by the end of the transfer window, and I don't think the relationship will be glowing between Dongren and their chairman. So obviously we didn't get him. But onto the players we did sign, so some positive outlooks. We got Sam Cosgrove at 2 million. I think he's a great signing if he can play like he used to. What he was playing 2 years ago was magnificent football for Aberdeen up in Scotland, banging in some goals, playing some really good football for the club. Obviously, the last couple of years, he's dipped down a bit. He got a few injuries. He hasn't been as impressive. He hasn't scored quite as many goals. But if we can get him back to the confidence that he had before, he could be a very good signing. And at 2 million, he's a bit of an investment, but we were willing to pay more for other players. So he's not ludicrously expensive, but not too cheap either. On to number 2 on my list. More likely to be under 23s at first, but considering we didn't sign Nesbitt, you might see him a couple of times this season. Kendra Simmons. He was a free transfer from the Manchester City under 23s. We don't know a lot about him. He's looking like a good player for the future. As a free transfer, I don't think you can go wrong. Isn't what the kind of player we desperately needed. We needed a more experienced player. But obviously with the pressure on his shoulders, it could weigh down on him. I'm optimistic for the future. If he can get himself a place in Karanka's squad, so be it. If he can get us some goals, brilliant. On to someone who is definitely an under-23 signing, as was announced by Blues as an under-23 signing, Leonardo Dorri. Leonardo Dorri, well, he was a free transfer from Barcelona. And he is an 18-year-old, I think. He might be 19 now. But he is a decent youth talent, again. Under 23, something to look for in the future. Not a lot to say about this season. Not a massive signing for this season. On to our 2 loan signings, and 2 signings that I wouldn't have expected at the start of this transfer window. One is Raheem Harper. Raheem Harper is a decent youth talent again, on loan from West Bromwich Albion. He's played a couple of games for West Brom this season off the bench, and he looks pretty nice as a player. He looks a decent talent. Isn't going to be massive for us because we've only got him for this season, but you never know what could happen at the end of the season. We could end up signing him. We could end up loaning him again next season. Nobody knows, but he looks decent. It's a good, decent transfer. I'm happy with it. And the last signing that was announced just after the deadline day window closed on us was Jan Valery. Now, possibly the worst introduction ever from Blues with the video, but cheese central, I may add, for Blues. After all these things we've done in the windows, that's what we come out with as our final signing. Cheese central. But he's a good player, but we didn't really need a right back. So is he cover for right wing? Is he cover for Colin and putting more pressure on because Cogley isn't? Are we going to go to 5 at the back? Are we going to play Colin at left back instead of Pedersen? I don't know. But Jan Valery is a quality player. But will we be able to get full out of him? Probably not. But if he can play his time, score a couple of goals, maybe get some assists, who knows? Now on to the more disappointing part. It starts off alright, kind of leans away at the end. So obviously number 1, Jaden Reed on loan. Jaden Reed's gone out on loan. He obviously isn't a huge talent at the moment. Jane Reed obviously went to Warsaw near the start of the transfer window, so he is an interesting one and one to look for in the future of Birmingham City. Will he get the time on the pitch in the future? We don't know. On to the second player on that list, Josh Andrews. Now, Josh Andrews has just recently gone out on loan right at the end of the transfer window. Josh Andrews has gone out on loan to Harrogate Town. Now, he's an interesting one to watch out for in the future, as you've got a League 2 team coming in for him at his age of 19. He's had a brilliant campaign with the under-23s, and moving to a League 2 outfit side is a big thing for someone of his age. Could we see him in a blue shirt in the future? Could we see him soon? Maybe even soon as next season. We don't know. Depends how much he hits it off at Harrogate. So on to Miguel Fernandez, who will have moved out on loan to a club that I've honestly never heard of. Can't say much about it. I expected more likely to be Cornella, but it wasn't. So on to a released player in Josh McEachran. Josh McEachran was a player who, when he signed for us, I was quite excited for, because I thought he's a decent talent. He's a not too old player. The only issue was injuries, and he showed it. He continuously got injuries. His talent when he was on the pitch wasn't as good as I expected, but wasn't horrendous either. But we obviously had to release him, as we were paying him so much wages that it was pointless to have him when he was just sat on an injury bench. On to, arguably, for me, the worst deal of the transfer window by possibly any club, in Mikhail Kiftembel. Now, obviously, we sold him for an undisclosed fee. We counted as undisclosed. They counted it as a free transfer. Some people said 170k. Whatever it was, I'm not overly pleased with the transfer. I thought Mikhail Kiftembel still had a couple more years left in him, at least. And since he's gone to Millwall, he's gone straight in their team. He played the last 6 games at Blues. I just did not see the point in selling him. I just didn't. And the fact that his replacement seems to be Adam Clayton is a shocker for me. And on to the final player is Dan Crowley on loan. This one happened quite a while ago. He's played a couple of games now for Hull. And yeah, it's a player I expected to go and be sold, so a loan probably not the worst move for us. And so I've been asked what I would rate this transfer window out of 10. I would probably give it a 6 or 7 out of 10. 6 or 7 because there is some positive transfers in there. There's some good ones for the youth, from Kendra to Leonardo. Sam Cosgrove, a younger player coming in, hopefully to score some goals. Striker we needed. Debatable, but hey ho. Also, the things such as keeping Pedersen at the end of the transfer window, not getting rid of Dukey, is 2 quite important things to this team, as we didn't replace them, so they'd have been pointless transfers. Things like that have made it a slightly better transfer window than it should be, but keeping players is as important as signing them these days. So thanks for watching this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Please hit the like button, the subscribe button. Keep right on to the Wickham game that is tonight.